Ladies and gentlemen, I am Frieden, and today we're going to be talking about something that a couple of my friends have asked about that I thought would make kind of an interesting video, and that would be why I dislike Metacritic so much and why I really think they need to go away. So, to start off, we're going to be using their FAQ page. You can find this at metacritic.com/about-metacritic. Metascores, my bad. It'll also be in the description, along with being on the video. I'll cut out and put little blurbs of what I'm talking about in the video for you to see in case you don't want to go look at it yourself. So, let's go ahead and get started. How we create the Metascore magic, a peek behind the curtain, right here. We carefully curate a large group of the world's most respected gamers, assign scores to their reviewers, and apply a weighted average to summarize the range of their opinions. A couple things very, very wrong with this. One being, okay, world's most respected gamers, or critics, golly, I keep saying gamers. Who are these people? Well, you'd have to dig deeper to find out. Pretty much you can guess who they are, you know, your IGNs, your G4s, your GameSpots, etc., etc. These big box companies that put out these reviews for games daily. Now, whenever we go to here, assign scores to their reviews. So what they do is they take a review, and let's say IGN gave Game X an 8 out of 10, and GameSpot gave it a 5 out of 10. And they can say, well, that 8 out of 10 is going to count more than the 5 out of 10 because reasons. And it's kind of like grading a test grade versus a quiz grade versus a daily grade in school. You kind of get the point there. And then we move on down to what they say, and they apply a weighted average to keep this, or to summarize the range of their opinions. I don't really understand what the weighted average does, simply because, you know, they say it's like grading on a curve in college, but why bother? I mean, don't the numbers kind of justify themselves? It seems like they're trying to spread them out for no real reason when they could just kind of agree that this is the consensus rather than trying to, I guess, it's almost like they're just trying to prevent them from agreeing. That's what it seems like to me, but, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how that's implemented. It doesn't explain it very well. Now we can go ahead and head on to the next image. Oh, that's the same one. Give me a second. And here we are. Now, score calculation questions. Are users' votes calculated in the Metascore? No. Why? Because it takes no justification whatsoever to give a rating to a game. I gave Titanfall a 7 out of 10, and I've never even touched the game. I've never even been near a console that had it on it. You don't need to prove that you own it. You don't even need to write a written review. So by their nature, they could be just random. Like, they could put in random number generator and get this pretty much the same idea from it. And that's ridiculous to me, really. It's just, that's really, really stupid. And also, they don't allow for you to choose like a 95 or an 85. They only allow 1 through 10. So you have to choose between, like, you know, a 10, a 20, a 30, a 40, 50, 60, etc., etc. So they don't let you get very precise with the numbers. Of course, I mean, we'll see down below that precision really doesn't matter. They go on to talk about the colors. Yes, you know, bigger, better, green, good, yellow, okay, red, bad. Now, their conversion charts are where things really start to fall apart. Whenever we look at their conversion chart, it makes sense. Okay, 90 to 100 is universal acclaim, 75 to 89 is generally favorable, while 50 to 74 is mixed or average. Now, I don't really like that, you know, mixed or average. Is it average? Is it mixed? They don't really, kind of just keeping it vague so that they don't really have to justify what they're actually saying. Now, let's go ahead and click into this real quick and check this out. Now, their 4-star scale pretty much makes sense. I mean, 100 divided by 4, 25, blah, blah, blah. You can pretty much guess how that goes. However, again, the 4-star rating system, even if they do use like 3.5 stars, it's still not nearly as accurate as you could get with a 0 to 100 score, which is what Metacritic conveniently uses. But we need to remember that during this, even though they have these conversion charts to it, they still assign a score to the review by their discretion to decide which is more important and which weighs more in the Metascore. So, there's no real point to doing all this. But we'll go ahead and look at their conversion charts for the letter grades, which is, So, in American school systems, which would make sense they were using this because their mother company, CBS, is headquartered in America, it makes sense that they're using that grading system. Typically, a 100 to a 90 would be an A. Obviously, an A plus being 100, an A minus being a 90. Same with B's, 89 to 80, C's 79 to 70, and then anything below that is typically failing. An A minus is a 91. Okay. A B plus is an 83. What? A B plus is an 83. So what happened to all of the numbers between, 91 and 83? You just didn't feel like putting it there? You realize there's 3 letters. An easy way to divide this would have been, okay, so a B plus is an 89, and then a B is an 85, and then a B minus is an 82 or below. But no, they just kind of assigned random numbers to it. It looks like they almost just tried to divide it into the number grades that they wanted to put in there. And it really gives some odd answers. For instance, a B minus in my mind isn't that bad. I mean, a B minus would be like an 81, an 82, an 80. It's a passing grade. It's not incredible, but it's not dreadful. But on their record, it's a 67, which is a failing grade. And you see, this is where the problem really starts to kind of show itself, and that's the fact that these numbers and these letters and whatnot that people try to assign to these games really don't make any sense, and they're all kind of just ideas in the reviewer's mind. For instance, a plus to me might be, a good game. It does its job. It's functional. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's good. It gets an A. Whereas an A in your mind might be a Shadow of the Colossus, Spec Ops The Line level of, this got brushed over, but it's so incredible it deserves an A, and there is no game in the world that could possibly get an A+. And that's the problem with all of this. People's opinions change day to day, and people's ideas and, I guess, almost preconceptions of grades and numbers change with them. And the reason this is so important in video games as opposed to something like, a screwdriver or something like that, is that video games aren't just work or not work. They have stories in them, they have art in them, they have visuals in them, and you can't really judge those. You can judge something that works or doesn't. If it doesn't start, then it's broken and it doesn't deserve any high scores. So, like, for instance, let's say a game doesn't have an FOV slider, or it doesn't have a volume slider, or it just doesn't turn on. That's a broken game, and you can say objectively that it's bad because it doesn't work. But if a game doesn't have a volume slider, but it's really beautiful, and the story is just so deep, and it's just, it's great, you can't judge that. So, whenever you try to put a number to a game, you're judging half of an art and half of a science, and you're using a system designed for something that is only a science. I can say a screwdriver doesn't work because it's bent and it's bad. I cannot say a game is bad because it has, bad mechanics or something like that. What I'm trying to say is that these scores, they do work, but only to a point. And they only work in the idea of, this is kind of sort of an idea of what it might be like if it was only a science and didn't have any level of art or merit past that. Except games have lots of merit past that. Games like here's a good Spec Ops The Line, like I mentioned earlier. That game has dreadful combat. That is terrible, terrible combat mechanics. It's an okay, less than good third-person shooter, but the story is incredible in that game. It explores morals and ideals that just aren't touched in games nowadays. But it got terrible reviews. Or it got some terrible reviews and some views. So it kind of got a mediocre on the Metacritic magic bullshit score thing. So, what I'm trying to get across here is, 1, review scores are bullshit. 1 through 4, A through C, 0 through 100. It doesn't exist. It's whatever somebody wants it to be on the day that it's happening. And it's different to every person who sees it. On top of that, Metacritic is even more BS than the BS reviews. They take all the BS reviews, push them together, decide which ones are the most important, assign, I guess, preference to those reviews, and then run it through their magic algorithm that nobody else is allowed to see because reasons, and we're an Iron First company, and you're not allowed to see anything that we do behind this curtain. and then try to run that as some kind of basis for what a game is or what a game is ranked. It'd be much more reasonable just to have a reviewer say, you know, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and then expect the viewer to have some kind of idea of what the reviewer likes or has liked in the past. For instance, somebody who grew up playing Pokemon, who loves Pokemon, might think X and Y is a huge step forward and a really, really good step for gaming in general. Whereas somebody who didn't grow up playing Pokemon might say, you know, it's as repetitive and boring and traditional as the old ones, except now they're in 3D and welcome to 1990 Nintendo. They're both right. Neither of them are wrong, objectively, because they're opinions. So, next time that you look at a game, or look at thinking of a game, or you need an idea of a game before you buy it, go watch, I don't know, a Let's Player, go watch a reviewer, you know, who are some, like, Total Biscuit. He does really good videos on this. Jim Sterling, another good one. Angry Joe Show, if you like a bit more of the cinematic stuff. And there's countless others out there that you could go and find. You get so much more out of actually seeing somebody go through the game and explain their experiences and ideas and what's bad and what's good and what they think could be fixed and what probably is going to be fixed and what cannot be fixed. It gives you a fuller picture of the game without trying to summarize it in a binary number that's trying to cover an art, which is what it is. So that's my reasoning for disliking Metacritic. I hope that you agree with me. I hope this shone a light to you, at least, or at least some people, the shortcomings of Metacritic and what about them is so broken at its core. Technically, let me state this, Metacritic has done nothing wrong. Technically. They're allowed to exist in whatever form or matter they want, whether I like it or not. But in their wake, they have done damage. For instance, the Fallout guys really got boned on this. I think it was Obsidian Entertainment. They missed their Metacritic score by 1 point. 1 point, and none of them got bonuses. Holy shit. Okay, so let me get onto this for a second. No. So, this magic... Sorry, I'm shaking. Give me a second. So, the scores that people determine that are opinions get placed into a box that they decide which are the most important, run them through their algorithm, and then take that, and then you determine how people get paid off of that? No, that's not how it's supposed to work. How about the guy who was sitting there slaving this whole time over that game and worked his ass off? You dictate it by something else. How about you... Oh, my knuckles are popping. How about you dictate it by, you know... I don't know, some other way. Just give them the bonus. That's so messed up that you would just kind of leave it to another company. Because at that point, they're not even working for the consumers. They're working for Metacritic because they know if they get a high enough score on that, then they get paid. And that is not something that we want happening. That can hurt everybody in gaming, not just the reviewers, but you and me in general, because if they're trying to appeal to a singular company who isn't even their company, this can lead down a very, very dark path. Now, this isn't what I think is happening. I honestly think people are kind of shifting away from Metacritic, which is good. Keep doing that. Look for better ways to get content. But I still wish that they had less power than they do currently. It's a fun little site. I mean, in general, it can sometimes give an okay score of maybe what's happening in a game, but even then they can't ever be changed, so any kind of updates, I mean, it's such a terrible system. Honestly, just listen to what I said earlier in the video. Just go and find somebody that you like, subscribe to them, and then follow them, and or even not that, just go to a freaking written blog. Sometimes those are better than the video reviews. I've started rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and tie this off, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure and check out some of my other content. Sorry I'm a bit quiet in this video. It is 10:30 at night, so do not want to wake anybody up on Thursday night. Thank you. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.